Hello, good morning. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are well. It's Friday, March 19th, and today we're going to be talking about some more crypto. We talked about crypto last time on Wednesday, and we're going to do it again today. Specifically today, I'm going to talk about DOGE coin, and I'm also going to show you guys a really cool thing that that you're going to like on how to make some extra side revenue on your crypto. And I think that's going to be really, really exciting for people. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I wanted to share is that everything that we do is for educational purposes only. And, you know, trading is risky, trade at your own risk, and you know, all that fun stuff. So let's go ahead and get started here. And the very first thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to share my screen here. I'm going to talk about the DOGE coin. DOGE. All right. So we're going to get a chart on this. And you'll take a look. You can see that it's pretty bullish. If you look at the technicals here, and this is a trading view is where I get this. Right now, it's pretty strong, and you can see that the trend has been moving up. So let's go ahead now and actually pull up the chart. And we'll change it over to candles. There we go. Okay, so the thing I want everyone to notice, I know some people have mentioned this, is that we have a pretty strong breakout right here. Okay, and let me get this up to full screen. We have a really strong breakout. This is Dogecoin US dollar. Okay, very strong break right here. It pulled back and then it went back up again, right? So we see that it pulled back and then it went up again, right? It made a new high. Then it pulled back and then we had a break, but it hasn't really followed through. And now we're kind of really scrunched up and we're pretty tight. So you want to be aware of that tightening. Right, so it's tightening, which is an indication that a breakout could come. And we don't really know which way the breakout would come. One thing about this particular coin in general is that it's really low cost, right? So if you'll notice that it's 0.05, right? 0.05. So it's not, I mean, this thing is super cheap. And you know, so it means you could hold quite a bit of it if, and a big move could make you a lot of money. I actually know people that were buying it down here at 0.007. You see how much of an increase it's gone. It's gone from 0.0, you know, down here it was 0.009 to 0.01. So, you know, I'm not a math whiz, but that's a huge increase. And there's a lot of opportunity. There's also a lot of risk because this thing it could go back down to these levels. And if you get in and it goes down to those levels, you'll be in a lot of trouble. And so with that being said, you want to always manage your risk. And that's very important. So risk management is critical on this. Yeah, all that fun stuff. That's good. Happy Friday, Pierre and Robin. Thank you, guys. So let's go back. If you wanted to know a little bit more about how to trade Bitcoin or these, I actually had a video last time on Wednesday, and it talked about Binance, which is this website you can use for trading. You can also use Coinbase Pro too, which I didn't mention that one. You can use Coinbase Pro or Binance. Binance is, in my opinion, a little better. So that's why I mentioned that. So right now we have this rising wedge, okay, and we have this trend line. So I probably wouldn't do too much unless it breaks out of this top one. You could get a shorter trade from 0.05 up to the top of this, but once it breaks this, it could really be a massive trade. And so I would be watching these tops. If it breaks with some strength, look for the next breakout right here. But if it breaks this one, we have a potential target all the way up here at 88. Now, let's take a look at a downward trend line. And so one of the questions I've had before is, oh, can we trade this? Can we day trade this stuff? And so let's go to a lower time frame and take a look. There, you go to a 1 minute, and it's a little choppy here, so that doesn't look too good. But we could go to like a 5-minute chart, looks a little better. And you can trade these breakouts. You can do a technical analysis. So we know that it's an uptrend, and so we want to try to get trades that are going up on the uptrend, right? We want to try to make some profit on those. And so I like to trade within the trend, but I like to trade pullbacks. So in this situation, this is a 5-minute chart. Well, I'd be looking for pullbacks like this one, right? This is a nice little pullback. Okay, and so right now, if you'll notice here that it broke out, this was 0.57 all the way up to 0.059. That's a pretty big move for this. And so right now we're right at support here because this old trend line now becomes support. I actually took a trade like this yesterday on the USD Swiss. I can show you that. It's almost the exact same setup, right? So we have this trend line, it's coming in. So right now, how would we trade this? Well, I'd be waiting for some consolidation down here and then a bounce to the upside. And if we get that bounce, then we go ahead and add along to this, right? So that's one thing I would be doing if you're looking at day trading. Otherwise, you just go to let's go back to the hourly now, and we can find it. So even on the hourly, this looks pretty good, right? Because you can see it broke out and now it's headed, there's this trend line acts as resistance, as support. We could possibly see something move up right up here. Okay, so now with that being said, you can use Binance to trade this, right? You can use Binance, which I showed you guys how to get onto Binance last time. And so if you're interested in that, we can do that. I might start doing that if we get enough people asking for it, because, you know, I've been trading stocks, options, and currencies. And so it's a lot to do. I might have to give more airtime if we start doing cryptos as well. But I just wanted to hit this kind of briefly today to show you guys how to trade crypto. It's really the same type of scenario. Now, the other thing I was going to show you guys is pretty cool. It's a new service, and it's not that new, but it's newer to me, and it's called Nexo. Okay, has anyone heard of Nexo? Nexo.io. Okay, Nexo is a platform that allows you to collect interest. Okay, it allows you to collect interest on your crypto, and you can also borrow as well off of your money. So if you have Bitcoins in your account, they'll pay you interest. Oh, and it's actually paid out daily, which is pretty cool. And I just get started with this, so I can't really give you a lot of details on it because I just got started. When I was starting to prepare for this series, I got some information on it. So, so that's pretty cool, but I can show you what my account is. And I just got started with a tiny amount just to test it out. But you can see I've got some Bitcoin in here and I'm earning interest. And the way you do it is you just click like top up. Once you open your account, you click top up and then it gives you a key, right? It'll give you a unique key and you deposit your crypto with the key. And these are the different interests that these cryptos offer. So if you want to hold crypto, you can do so and earn interest. And if you think about the benefits of that, that's pretty powerful because why? Well, because the bank is giving you like 0.01% or no interest at all. And so for you to hold this and get up to 8% on your crypto is pretty good. The other cool thing about this is that you're holding Bitcoin or ETH or whatever the coin that you like. So you're actually making money on the coin as well, which is pretty good because because if you hold Bitcoin and it goes up a ton, then that's a pretty good thing, right? That's pretty exciting and pretty good that you could make some decent money on just holding your coins, and the coin will come up as well. And so this isn't really day trading, but it's just another thing that you can do. And one thing I recommend if you guys are trading and you're successful at trading is you just pull out some of the profit from some of the profit from your trading. And so Chris said nope, and I don't know if he was responding saying he's not a profitable trader. I said you can pull off some of your profits and then roll it into this and use this as like a savings, right? So you make your money from your trading and then you roll it into other investments, and that's really one way to steamroll and make some decent revenue it's like what I teach in some of my Dream Trade courses, where it's about consistency, right? And compounding. If you consistently pull out your trading profits and put it into other things. So that's what the nope was. Okay. Yeah. So you can check it out. What I recommend again is do your research. Anything is risky. Find out how they're doing this and what their purposes is. But what they're doing is they're actually allowing you. They're holding your crypto and then they're paying you interest on it, and you can actually collect a loan. And that's how they're paying the interest, is because you're getting a loan off of them and then they're paying back some dividends on that. So it was a really smart idea by these guys, and it's working really well so far. And I read the reviews. The reviews are pretty solid. But again, I'm just trying it out, so you'll have to learn as I learn. And we'll have to see how it goes, and we'll play it by ear along the way. But I just wanted to share this resource because I think it's really useful. And as I discover stuff, I want to share stuff with you guys as well too. So that's where we're at with that. And that was my crypto update. Hopefully that's useful to you guys and you guys enjoy that. So. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at some other resources for you guys. One of the things that I wanted to share with you guys is a tool that I have developed. It's called the Forex Power Indicator. And this tool here is something that will show you the currency strength. And so I like to look at it on the monthly. So you can see the strongest is the pound and the weakest is the yen. So the pound yen has been a really good buy setup. And then you can look at weekly. So you can see that the yen and the CAD yen has been strong in the last week. And then you find just some of these strong pairs. And a good way to do this is maybe on the weekend when you're preparing for your trading, is you can go ahead and just look at these, right? And you can say, okay, these are the ones I want to look at next week. I want to look at the CAD yen. I want to look at, you can look at the monthly. I want to look at the pound yen, CAD yen, Aussie yen, and then go back down to some of the daily time frames. And I just, good. Back to my chart here. All right, so, and then from there, once you build, it's basically an idea to build out a watch list, right? And a watch list is something that you can use to help you for your scanning, right? So once you get your watch list together, you're like, okay, I'm going to add the CAD yen. And you notice that today the CAD yen's been weak and the pound yen has been weak today. So that's a little bit of a reversal, which I think gives us an opportunity. So we can actually go now and take a look at like the CAD yen and the pound yen and see if it gives us an opportunity to trade. It gives us an opportunity to trade some of these. So let's pull up a chart now. Whoops, wrong one. All right, so here's my pound yen chart. There we go. All right, so this is the pound yen, okay, and this is a weekly. I like to look at things on a weekly, and you can see how strong this is, and so we knew from the power indicator that this is, the daily is really important to see for the direction, right? So we know the pound indicator, we can find some support and resistance. You can see that right here is a really solid support level. So we have support here, here, and now we have the price is really peaking. And so let's take a look at a daily. It's finally starting to get a little tired. But the last time it did that, it didn't go too far. See, it went down right here. So really, here's a support level, right? So what I prefer to do on these, this is such a strong trend. What I prefer to do is try to find pullback. So I drew this trend line right here, and we could see that maybe the price could come back down into this trend line, okay? And if it does come back here, that's an opportunity for us to get along, right? So just being patient, waiting for your setups to develop. So we come back down here, we try to find a long trade. And right now, this could be a potential long because why? Because it's right on support, okay? Now, it's very overextended. So when you're taking a trade, you see how high this MACD is and how powerful this move is. I mean, this move is insane. Let's just run a swing high to swing low on it. I mean, wow, this is a huge move. 1,800 pips. And, you know, there's this particular move just really flew. So let's draw a fib retracement as well. And my fibs are yellow, so you can't see them. there's a level right here, which is at 23.6. So it's so far overextended that it has not really had any time to come back at all. So if it did, we could see a pullback up at the 23.6. We could see it at 149, which is where this green support level is. And right now we have a support level right here. So there's another trend line we could draw. And that's this really, really, really steep one. Okay. And this would get us a potential setup. Let's zoom up on this. This is a daily time frame, right? We have a possible, and this is a reversal trade, but you can see that this is really overextended. Okay. I prefer to take the long setup. That's a great question, Robin. I like to take a long setup, but I could consider taking a short if the risk to reward works, because it's counter trend, yes. But if it does break this, I would expect it to come to a couple of these levels. Okay, so right now we have this pretty solid trend line where it's being tested. So there's a test right here and a test right here. So now I'm gonna answer Robin's question in a minute. I'm gonna put it up here so he can see it and just let him know that I'm thinking about it, and I'm gonna answer his question. Okay, so right here, you can see that it's pushing into support. And so I like to take setups off of support and resistance. Okay, and now let's take a look at this. So we have support right here. You can see the MACD is pretty low. Let's look at it on a 15-minute. It's pretty low. It's really dropping down. So we could actually try to catch a bounce off of this. Now, yes, it's kind of what you would call a counter trend within the trend. So this is a reversal trade, right? Because which way is the direction going down? Well, this is going down right now. Yeah, big time. But it's an uptrend on a little higher time frame, but on a downtrend, it's a reversal. So I always like to think of every single trade I ever take as a reversal, but it's just a reversal in a different direction. In some of the trades I take, it's a reversal on a, this is a long, it's a reversal on a 1-minute chart, but on a higher time frame, it's actually a trend trade, right? So I'm always looking for reversals, but I'm just looking at them. The best ones are the ones that go in the direction of the trend. And so in this particular scenario, we could run a swing high just on this 1-minute chart. We could run a swing high and swing low down here and say, okay, we're at 151 level all the way up to this one. We have a nice 15 pip target on a 1-minute. Let's go to this pullback on the hourly. You can see if we pull it on the hourly, it gives us an even better target. If I can click it. There we go. Right, so here's the pullback on the hourly. What would we have here? A potential bounce all the way up to 151.35, and you can see we have support here. And then if we're looking for the trend to continue, we would look at a pullback here, right? And if it breaks this trend line, depending on how much you want to wait or how long you want to hold it, you think it could come. But right now, it's really strong to the downside. It's really dropping hardcore. And so I'm not really interested in taking this as a long setup. Right now, I would need some kind of bounce to happen, which is why we're looking at it. So if this trend line does break this 1 minute, this would definitely be what you would call a day trade. We could grab this and take probably a pretty nice trade on it. But, it's 1 minute time frame, so it's not going to move a ton on a 1 minute. If it gets 10 pips on a 1 minute, that's a pretty good setup. So while I'm watching this, I'm going to answer Robin's question, which I appreciate. And I appreciate all feedback all the time. So Which support and resistance is the strongest? The 1 minute or the 1 month? So obviously it does work that way. Yeah, a 1 minute or a weekly support levels are really good, right? Monthly support levels are great. So if we look at this one, this is a monthly support level right here. Let me delete all of this stuff off the chart. Monthly support levels are really solid. So we have one right here that it just broke. So that's pretty important. And you can see even before it held up quite a while before it came down. This trend line was broken as well on a monthly time frame. And so you can see we're up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months in a row. But it's just not really it looks massive, but it's not, because if we compare it to some of the past moves, I mean, look at this move. This was in 2016, 2015, 2016. It was really crazy. The thing just took off. So that was like 7,000 pips. So really, this is just a tiny little move in comparison. And it's kind of bunched up. We haven't been moving a lot, but we can see there are some levels. So let's zoom it out a little bit. And I like taking my time on some of these just to really get a feel for what the currency pair is doing. So right here, we have a nice upward potential movement about 500 pips up to this last support level. And so monthly support levels are very powerful. Now let's go down to the weekly and take a look. Weekly, we have pretty much the same levels. There's another one right here on a weekly that we couldn't see on the monthly. And you can see it was almost right there and went right up. So if we're looking at this on a weekly time frame, I'll tell you that a trend line break on a weekly is pretty powerful. So we do have a pretty sharp trend right here, the same one I showed you on a daily. If that breaks and if this level breaks, we could go all the way back down here. So there could be a potential for a really strong move on a short if it actually happens. But right now, this trend is very strong, and so we don't want to assume anything until that trend actually breaks. So let's go back to that 1 minute, okay? And you can see now, so I hope that answered your question. We had a breakout here, and we broke out, and we're right here. So I'm going to actually take a buy trade right here. Okay, I'm going to put my target right here, right where this level is. And so, so I'm going to trade this. Now, I'm going to be keeping my risk fairly tight on this because, again, you always want to keep your risk tight and have always trade with a stop. So with MT4, it's really nice because you can trade with a stop loss by just dragging it, right? So here's where the bottom is, and right here's the stop. So we've got just about a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio on this one. And I'm just trying to catch this move because it broke this downward trend. And also we know that it's at support. And that doesn't mean anything. It could bounce around a little bit, but on that 1 hour, we are close to the support. There is another level lower. So I want to take that into consideration. So if this trade doesn't work out, it could come right back down here as well. And so I would be looking at possibly getting in again right there. So when you have a trend line like this, it acts as a support level. And this is a 1 minute. It works a lot better on higher time frames, but it acts as a support level after. And you can see it has respected this pretty well. It doesn't mean that I'm going to get a big bounce, but it did get a tiny bounce. It usually does get something. See how it broke the trend line, came back and retested the trend line. And so for patient, hi, Linda. Thank you. For patient traders, they can wait for the break and say, okay, it's breaking, but I don't want to get in yet. I'll wait for the retest. And that will give you a very high, if you wait for the retest, it gives you a high probability entry. Now, of course, there is a drawback for that. And the drawback is that if you wait for the retest, sometimes you won't get it because sometimes it'll just go straight up into your target, right? So that's one of the drawbacks for waiting. But again, it's okay to be patient. If you get a high probability setup, you might only need a couple setups a day to make a good profit, right? You only need a couple setups a day, 1 or 2 good trades. Once you get your, once you get your account built up, you might only need to take 1 trade like this a day, and that's all you need to consistently grow your account. And it just takes a place of planning, being prepared, planning your trades, and all of that stuff to, having a strategy on how you're actually going to grow your account, not just, oh, I need to trade, I need to make money, but actually having a strategic plan for your account management. Okay, I'm going to take out a certain percentage. So one thing you could do is, okay, if you trade every week and you get to the point where you make 1 or 2 trades a day, you make money every week, maybe you would take half your profit out and, to live off of, or then take half out and roll into something else. And every Friday, you not analyze your trades. You take a percentage of the profit out every Friday, something like that. Just something to consider, because having a strategy and a plan is important. It'll help you really be guided in your decision making. It's good to have a plan so that you can follow and make good market decisions. So let's take a look at the USD Swiss. Okay, so the USD Swiss, this is a 1-minute chart, but I wanted to show you a trade I made yesterday on this. Okay, and I actually did it a couple different times. So you see, let's zoom this out. So we have what I like to call a bull flag. We have a bull flag right here. Okay, this was actually really sweet. I was so happy about this, because if you have seen any of mine at all, you know that I like these bull flags. So we had a big move, and then it was just consolidating, headed lower, right? And so the bull flag happened, and let's get these trend lines a little bit better. The bull flag happened, and then we had a breakout, but I wasn't in front of my chart until right here. Okay, and so when I came in, I'm like, oh, this is testing this area. And so I waited for a setup to happen, and then it bounced right off of this, and I was able to catch a pretty nice trade. But then it did it again, and it bounced twice, and then we got a third trade, and then finally, where we're at today, we got a really solid break move. So pretty interesting how that works. It's very similar to what I was just talking about. You got the breakout, you retest, and then it moves higher. So let's take a look. So right now, see how it broke out? This is the difference, is this is the direction. The direction of this one is moving lower. So the great thing about that USD Swiss is it was an up move, it broke lower, and then it took off. And so waiting for the breakout. So we could have traded this both different directions. We could have taken this trade here, 33 pips, or you could wait for the pullback and take the trade. And then this one is right here is about 50 pips. So that's a pretty solid setup. Right? And that's what I did yesterday. It was a very solid trade. Okay. So we're still watching this pound yen, and we got the breakout. It's still holding this level. If it doesn't hold this, I will get out of this trade if it doesn't hold this. And so yeah, Linda's right. The higher the time frame, the more powerful the support and resistance. absolutely true. And so another thing to note about this is the MACD is starting to turn as well, which is a good sign when you have the breakout happening in conjunction with the MACD. But this is a very strong downtrend. It's really powerful. And the only reason I'm taking this now is because we're at a pretty solid support level, but it might be a little premature. I should have possibly been a little more patient, waited for price to get down here before trying to catch the bounce. So that is my downfall on this particular setup. So right now we actually have a new trend line, a new formation happening. So we had the initial break here, but we have a new one forming. So it's consolidating. Now we have a little wedge, right? You see we have a little wedge. Okay, so now we're trying to break this level here. And so that is an indication that we could come back down into my stop right here. We'll see what happens. It's trying to break to the downside. You can see that happening. See that? It broke to the downside. Had I taken a short, would have been a much better setup. So this is another way to trade these. Let's show you this. So when you have a strong downtrend, now this is a 1 minute. The reason I went long was because of the uptrend on the hourly. Okay, but I'm actually looks like I'm going to take a loss here. Another way to trade this is on these moves, draw these trend lines. Right? Once you have a downtrend established, every time you get a bounce, you draw a trend line, right? And when you do that, you can see there's a lot of good trades, and now we have one forming here. And so I was a little bit impatient on my entry, right? And so looks like I'm gonna end up paying for that because of my impatience. And so a better way to do this, so I had a couple different mistakes, right? So we want to always analyze your mistakes. One was I probably should have been a little more patient on the entry, waited for it to come down here. The other thing I probably could have done is waited for a stronger breakout to the upside. And let me show you what that would look like. Wait for it to break like this. And then come back down. Oops. Come back down and then catch a move like that. So once it breaks the high, forms a down pattern, and then starts to show a better reversal signal, that's something that we could have been looking at to really make this a better setup here. So right now, let's take a look. So we went up, we retested this trend line. Again, the same type of thing. It went down, it went back up and retested, and then it started headed lower. So an entry on this could have been waiting for the break or waiting for it to come back up here and then take us out. And so right now, I'm very close. All right, we're about ready to hit my stop loss and take me out of this trade. Okay, so now I'm out of it. So now you can see though, so that's one loser, but it was tiny. It was 10 pips, not a massive loss. A lot of tiny losses add up. But what we want to do is keep our losses small and keep our winners a little bit bigger, right? And have a pretty decent winning percentage. So now I had kind of paid the price for being a little impatient. I took a lot of time on the initial analysis, but I was a little impatient on the entry. So now we can see we have a possibility, to get back down here. So if we want, we could try to catch a move to the upside like we did here and then wait for a break. So if we look at this little break, now we could, I think it could get down here. I think it's probably going to draw down there because that's a powerful level. And you can see what happened. Look at that. This would have been a solid entry, 11 pips, very solid. So I'm actually glad that I'm out of this trade because it is moving lower. And if I was still in it, it'd be bad. So now I can refresh, get a fresh point of view. Everything is mentally, I'm in a much better position. And so now I'm like, okay, what would I be looking for? I can look for a pullback into this zone, some kind of consolidation, and then a break to the downside. So let's draw a channel. And remember, right now, I am doing this on a very short time frame, but we could do this exact same thing on daily charts, hourly charts, monthly charts. You can do this on absolutely any time frame. So right now, what do I see here? It's going to be testing the bottom of this channel. So I would expect to get some kind of bounce here very soon. So if it's going to make its way all the way down here, it might bounce off of this, go sideways a bit, come back up into 151 at some point, right around here, and then finish off the move that I was thinking it was going to make. Or it could just go straight down and finish off the move as well. So now I'm just being patient here and just waiting for a good setup. Okay, so it broke the bottom of that channel, and now we're going to test this level. We're going to test this level. Look at it on the hourly. You can see pretty strong. There is another little bit of a level. There we go. It made it right to what we talked about. So now there's another level here. So if it doesn't bounce here, we do have another one. But let's take a look at just a lower time frame now. So we've got the bounce is happening. Let's see what happens right here. Okay, so we got our bounce. You can see it's bouncing pretty nice. So one of the strategies could have been just to grab that right off the level, which is some traders do that. You know, they put the target right on the level, they grab a quick move, and they get it. So right now we're up against this trend line. Okay, so now we're back down. We're retesting the level again. Okay, so as this retests, let's see if it will bounce again. We got test 1, test 2. Okay, so we have consolidation now. Consolidation has formed. And you'll notice that the indicator is also showing divergence. See that? This is the MACD, Savvy MACD indicator. It's showing divergence, which means that it's overextended and it's in a support level. So when you get overextension and support at the same time, that is an additional point of confirmation. Okay, so now we're getting our second bounce. And this time, it's got a little more force, and it might clear this level. Okay, so we cleared that that trend line. So I'm going to actually try to do this one more time. So this time we got a better, was a little more patient and got a better entry. I think we'll see what happens here. And you'll notice that the reason this trade is quite a ways away from my entry is because of the spread. So that's one of the things why getting a better spread is definitely good. The best spread you can get. This is about 1.4, which isn't terrible, but you'll see the difference between where I entered and where my price is. That's because of the spread. All right, so so right where I have my take profit, you'll notice that there's a couple things. There is a support level right here. You'll see that, or resistance level right up here to the left. If you look to the left, that's where you find your levels. So that's one area. And then we have this trend line headed down. That's another area. There's also a trend, kind of a trend line right here. Kind of a middle line. Anytime you get a channel, there's usually a middle line, and it looks kind of like this. So that's why I've got my take profit right up here where I have it. All right, now, in addition, so if we don't believe that this trend line is going to hold, we could use this to do a down trade as well. The reason I'm not is because this is an uptrend and because we're at support. That's why we're not, and we're overextended. But if I was watching this trend and I'm like, okay, this is a downtrend, what I would do is I would take this and I would draw this trend line, just like what we did earlier. You see, like right here, this was a great move, 20 pips. And so now it's like, okay, if this breaks again, we could try to target another 20 pips to the downside down here. If we do break this level, there's another level right down at 57. So So I'm watching this with some interest just to see what happens with it. My main goal on this is to try to catch the bounce off of the 150.80 support level. So now we also have a little wedge forming here as well. Okay, very interesting bullish candle. We have 1, 2, 3 bounces off this support level, and now we have some nice bullish momentum. And so what I'm actually going to do is add one more to this, right? So now that I have it looking good, I'm going to add another one. Okay, so this will be a total of 3 trades during this session. And so if I end up hitting the target on this one, it'll be 2 trades, which would cover the loss that I took earlier. Now, if I do lose this one, if this bounce isn't legit, then I'll end up taking 3 losing trades. It'll be a 30 pip loss because each one of these is roughly 10 pips on the day. So, and that would be my max loss rule, which I have a rule where I won't take more than 3 losses because of drawdown. And if I'm off on that day, it helps cut me off. You know, it's like, okay, if I get off and I'm like, okay, I got to make all my money back, I'm going to do something stupid. Well, I like to have that max loss rule in place. So I like to switch around from different time frames just to see what it looks like, just to give my eyes different pictures, because I'm really good at seeing market pictures because I've been doing this so long. So, you know, I like to just jump around, say, okay, what's it look like? What's happening on the 5-minute? What's happening on the 15? You know, overall, it's good to have that big picture. Well, Robin, 3 losses on the day doesn't really matter because if I win 7 in a row and then I lose 2 and then I win another 7 and then I lose another, then I lose 1, that would be 3 losses, but I'd win like 15 and lose 3. So that really wouldn't matter. It would have to be consecutive. However, if I take like 15 trades and I've won the first, you know, and I'm up like 11-3, well, I might just take the day off anyways because I had a good day. But no, it's definitely consecutive. I just wanted to pull up some of the other charts I was looking at. Let's take a look at KO. So KO, I was looking at weekly. I was watching this trend level. You can see the weekly chart on here. I was looking for a pin bar and price to go lower here. And I'm just doing this while I'm waiting for the pound yen. But you can see we have support. This is a weekly chart, support right here. The market overall today is down again. So let's take a look at SPY. So we have a pretty interesting scenario. This is a double top. We had an all-time high this week, but it's been rejected pretty hard on a Friday. We had 3 weeks down in a row, then one push back up, then a push up, but it didn't make it. And now we have a double top, 1, 2, right around the 400. 400 is a pretty big psychological level too. So we have this trend line, which has not broken, but we have a little wedge here, and this is a weekly. Let's look at the monthly. See what this looks like on a monthly time frame. So monthly, it's pushing up against this level, and we've been going up for quite some time. We did have 2 down months in a row, which was October and September, but since then we've really been pushing to the upside. And on the daily, we're now pushing. We're going to be pushing into support here pretty soon. All right. Well, it looks like it's going to do that third trade on me. It's breaking out of this level. All right, so there we have it. Closed out 3 trades, and I hit my 3 losses. So that means I'm done for the day. So we'll come back next week on Monday. We'll try again and see what happens. Have to be a little more patient and analyze the trend a little bit more, because this was so strong. We can see on a weekly that it's topping out. So if this weekly level breaks, this could be a downward trend for quite some time. But we use the power indicator to help us. And right now it's at a pretty solid level. You can see on the weekly, I would expect to get a bounce here pretty soon. If we look, where did I see that other level? So where was that other level? There's maybe... Where'd it go? Must be deleted. So I put it right here, maybe. Here or here. So I'd be looking now for about a bounce around the 50 and see if that happens. But I did it. I hit my 3 losses, and we'll work on that. And we'll come back on Monday and see how it goes. But at least I manage my risk. That's important. Manage the risk. Make sure you don't do anything stupid. That's my main goal. All right. Well, thank you. And that's why I say this is for educational purposes only. These are not trade calls. This is just education. But again, thanks everyone. Hey, Frog, you just missed me because I'm leaving. Have a great day and a great weekend, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Thank you.